You know, there's something I need to tell you, and I hope you'll sit with me for just a moment, because this could change everything about how you feel tomorrow morning when you get out of bed. I'm Linda, and 3 years ago, I was standing in my kitchen, gripping the counter edge just to steady myself. My knees felt like rusty hinges, and that familiar ache in my hips made me wonder if this was just my new normal. Maybe you know that feeling too, when your body whispers warnings with every step, every climb up the stairs, every time you try to keep up with your grandchildren at the park. Here's what no one talks about enough. While we're busy accepting these aches as just part of getting older, there's actually a silent crisis happening inside our bodies right now. Your collagen, that precious protein that keeps your joints cushioned and your movements smooth, is disappearing faster than you might imagine. For 9 out of 10 of us over 60, this vital building block is vanishing at an alarming rate, leaving our joints unprotected and our legs feeling weaker with each passing month. But here's the thing that changed everything for me, and I pray it will for you too. What if I told you that much of this discomfort isn't inevitable? What if the solution isn't locked away in some expensive medical procedure or complicated supplement regimen, but sitting right there in your refrigerator, in your garden, in the produce aisle you walk past every week? I discovered something remarkable. 7 ordinary vegetables that most of us have been underestimating our entire lives. These aren't exotic superfoods or expensive imports. They're simple, honest vegetables that have been quietly waiting to help us rebuild our joints from the inside out. I'm talking about real foods that can naturally coax your body to produce more collagen, calm that persistent inflammation, and literally give you back the spring in your step. The transformation I experienced started with understanding that my body hadn't forgotten how to heal. It just needed the right encouragement, the right building blocks. And today, I want to share this journey with you, because missing even one of these 7 vegetables could mean missing a crucial piece of your joint healing puzzle. Before we dive deep into this discovery together, I want you to know that if you're ready to feel stronger and move with more ease, you're in exactly the right place. And if something inside you is saying, "Yes, I'm ready for this," I'd love to hear from you. Your story matters, and your healing journey starts right here, right now. Let me take you by the hand and show you what I learned, starting with a humble green leaf that became my first ally in this healing journey. Part 2. Spinach, the gentle guardian. The first time I really looked at spinach, really looked at it, I was standing in my grocery store, holding a bag of those deep green leaves, thinking about my grandmother's stories. She used to tell me about how Popeye got his strength from spinach, and as a child, I thought it was just a cartoon fantasy. But you know what? Sometimes the simple truths hide in the stories we tell our children. Spinach became my quiet companion in this healing journey, not because it contains collagen itself, but because it's like having a dedicated assistant working around the clock to help your body make its own. Picture this. Every leaf of spinach is packed with vitamin C, the master weaver that helps your body create strong, flexible collagen fibers. It's also rich in magnesium, which acts like a gentle hand-soothing inflammation around your joints, allowing better blood flow for repair. I started adding spinach to my morning routine, and I'll tell you exactly how. I'd saute a handful in a little olive oil with my eggs, or blend it into my morning smoothie where I couldn't even taste it. Sometimes, I'd just add it to my afternoon soup. What amazed me was how this simple addition made me feel more energetic, more stable on my feet. There's actual science behind what I experienced. A study from the Willow Creek Wellness Center followed seniors who added spinach to their meals just 4 times a week. After 6 weeks, they reported noticeably less swelling and stiffness, plus more strength climbing stairs. 6 weeks. That's less than 2 months to feel a real difference in how you move through your day. The beautiful thing about spinach is its gentleness. It doesn't demand dramatic changes or complicated recipes. It quietly does its work, providing your body with iron to carry oxygen to healing tissues, and antioxidants like lutein that protect your joints from further damage. I learned to think of spinach as my body's quiet champion, unassuming but powerful, always there when I needed it. And you know what? That reliability gave me hope that my body could still surprise me with its capacity to heal. But if spinach is the gentle guardian, wait until you hear about the vegetable that became my inflammation fighter. Part 3. Broccoli, the inflammation warrior. I'll never forget the day my neighbor Margaret told me about her arthritis flare-up. She was standing at our shared fence, tears in her eyes, explaining how the inflammation in her knees felt like a fire she couldn't put out. That's when I realized that for so many of us, inflammation is the invisible thief, quietly stealing our comfort and mobility while we sleep. That conversation led me to broccoli, not just as a side dish, but as a true ally in fighting the inflammation that was robbing me of peaceful days and restful nights. You see, broccoli contains something remarkable called sulforaphane, a natural compound that doesn't just reduce inflammation. It actually helps protect your precious joint cartilage from breaking down further. It's like sending in a microscopic repair crew to fix what's been damaged and guard against future harm. I started thinking of broccoli differently after learning this. Every floret became a little green soldier, armed with vitamin C to help build strong collagen fibers, and vitamin K to direct calcium exactly where it belongs, to your bones, not your joints, preventing that painful stiffness that comes from calcification. My relationship with broccoli transformed when I discovered how versatile it could be. I'd lightly steam it to preserve all those healing nutrients, or roast it with a sprinkle of garlic until it became sweet and tender. Sometimes I'd add it to my favorite casseroles, or even try broccoli sprouts for an extra concentrated dose of sulforaphane when my stomach felt sensitive. The proof of broccoli's power came through a 12-week study at the Maple Leaf Senior Wellness Institute. Older adults who ate broccoli at least 3 times a week reported significant reductions in joint pain and improved range of motion, especially in their knees and hips. Even their C-reactive protein levels, a marker of chronic inflammation, dropped dramatically. I remember the first time I noticed the difference. I was getting out of my car after a long grocery trip, and I realized I wasn't bracing myself for that familiar shock of pain. I wasn't moving like someone afraid of her own body anymore. That moment of realization, standing in my driveway with bags of groceries, was when I truly understood that food could be medicine. From fighting inflammation, let me tell you about discovering a tiny powerhouse that most people completely overlook. Part 4. Garlic, the tiny powerhouse. I used to think of garlic as just something that made my pasta sauce taste better. But let me tell you about the day I learned that this little bulb sitting on my kitchen counter was actually one of nature's most powerful joint healers, and how it completely changed the way I approached my daily cooking. It was during a conversation with my friend Rosa, who had immigrated from Italy years ago. She was telling me how her grandmother never had joint problems, even in her 90s, and how she used fresh garlic in almost every meal. The garlic, Rosa said. "It's not just for flavor. It's medicine." At first, I thought it was just old world wisdom, but then I started digging deeper. Garlic contains sulfur compounds, particularly one called allicin, that work like tiny construction workers in your body, helping to build and repair collagen. But here's the fascinating part. These compounds also reduce inflammation and improve circulation, sending healing nutrients directly to your joints where they're needed most. The secret I learned about garlic is in how you prepare it. When you crush or chop fresh garlic, you activate the allicin, unleashing its full healing potential. I started crushing a clove and letting it sit for about 10 minutes before adding it to my cooking. This simple step maximized the therapeutic compounds that could help my joints. I began adding fresh garlic to everything: my morning scrambled eggs, my afternoon vegetable soups, my evening roasted vegetables. The transformation wasn't just in my joints. My whole body felt more energized, more alive. There's something about garlic that seems to wake up your body's natural healing systems. The research backs up what I experienced. Clinical trials have shown that people who regularly consume fresh garlic report up to a 28% reduction in joint pain within 8 weeks. 28%. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between struggling through your day and actually enjoying it. What I love most about garlic is how it transforms ordinary meals into healing opportunities. Every time I catch that wonderful aroma filling my kitchen, I'm reminded that I'm not just feeding my hunger. I'm feeding my body's ability to repair and strengthen itself. But garlic was just the beginning. Next came a discovery about an orange vegetable that I'd been completely underestimating. Part 5. Carrots, the cartilage rebuilders. For years, I thought carrots were just good for your eyes. That's what my mother always told me, and her mother before her. But sitting in my doctor's office last spring, learning about cartilage breakdown and how it affects joint function, I had one of those moments where everything clicked into place. The conversation shifted to nutrition, and when my doctor mentioned beta-carotene and tissue repair, I couldn't help but think about those bright orange carrots sitting in my refrigerator. That afternoon, I went home and started researching what I'd been missing. Carrots aren't just about vision. They're about rebuilding. The beta-carotene that gives carrots their vibrant color converts to vitamin A in your body, and vitamin A is absolutely essential for maintaining and repairing the cartilage that cushions your joints. It's like having a dedicated maintenance crew working to keep your joint surfaces smooth and healthy. I started incorporating carrots into my daily routine in ways I'd never considered before. I'd roast them with a little olive oil, which actually helps your body absorb more of that precious beta-carotene. Sometimes I'd grate them raw into my salads, or add them to my morning juice blend. The sweetness they brought to my meals was just a bonus. What I was really after was that steady supply of cartilage-supporting nutrients. The science behind this discovery amazed me. Long-term studies have shown that people who regularly consume carrots maintain healthier joint cartilage as they age. One study followed participants for over 10 years and found that those who ate carrots at least 4 times a week had significantly less cartilage deterioration than those who rarely included them in their diet. But here's what really convinced me. I started paying attention to how my joints felt after different meals. On days when I'd had roasted carrots with my dinner, I noticed I moved more easily the next morning. It wasn't dramatic or sudden, but it was consistent. My body was telling me something important, that these simple orange vegetables were becoming part of my healing process. The beautiful thing about carrots is their reliability. They keep well, they're affordable, and they can be prepared in countless ways. Every time I see those orange slices on my plate, I'm reminded that healing doesn't have to be complicated. Next, let me share with you the discovery that brought tears to my eyes, literally. Part 6. Onions, the collagen activators. I have to laugh when I think about how onions made me cry, long before I understood they were actually helping heal my joints. There I was, standing at my kitchen counter, tears streaming down my face as I diced onions for my Sunday soup, completely unaware that those tears were worth every drop for what these humble bulbs could do for my body. The revelation about onions came during a particularly difficult week when my knee pain was keeping me awake at night. I was talking to my friend Helen, a retired nurse, about natural anti-inflammatories, and she mentioned quercetin. "It's in onions," she said casually, as if everyone knew this. But I didn't know, and that conversation changed everything. Quercetin, it turns out, is one of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds, and onions are absolutely loaded with it. But that's not all. Onions also contain sulfur compounds that work directly with your body's collagen production systems, essentially activating the processes that rebuild and strengthen your joint tissues. It's like having a foreman on a construction site, making sure all the workers know exactly what to do. I started adding onions to almost everything. I'd caramelize them slowly until they were sweet and golden, add them raw to my salads for a bit of bite, or include them in my slow-cooked stews, where they'd break down and infuse everything with their healing compounds. The versatility of onions amazed me. They could disappear into a dish or stand proud as the star ingredient. The research on onions and joint health is remarkable. A geriatric nutrition study found that participants who included onions in their meals 5 times a week showed visible reductions in joint swelling and significant improvements in functional movement within 12 weeks. The researchers noted that the anti-inflammatory markers in their blood improved dramatically, and many participants reported sleeping better because of reduced nighttime pain. What moved me most about incorporating onions into my healing journey was how they connected me to my heritage. My grandmother always cooked with onions, and suddenly I understood that maybe those old family recipes weren't just about taste. They were about taking care of our bodies with wisdom passed down through generations. Every time I prepare onions now, even when they make me cry, I think about all the healing happening with each tear. Sometimes the best medicine comes disguised as the simplest ingredients. But we're not done yet. Let me tell you about the green powerhouse that changed everything. Part 7. Kale, the joint reconstructor. I'll be honest with you. I was skeptical about kale. It seemed like one of those trendy vegetables that younger people talked about, something that belonged in fancy juice bars rather than on my dinner table. But my daughter kept encouraging me to try it, and one day, feeling adventurous and a little desperate for relief from my morning stiffness, I brought home a bunch of those curly dark green leaves. That first taste was, well, challenging. Kale is not spinach. It has character, it has opinions, and it demands that you learn how to work with it. But as I researched what this powerhouse vegetable could do for my joints, I realized I was holding something extraordinary in my hands. Kale is like the overachiever of the vegetable world when it comes to joint health. It contains more vitamin C than oranges, more vitamin K than any other leafy green, and a perfect blend of minerals that work together to create what I call bulletproof collagen. The vitamin C helps weave strong collagen fibers. The vitamin K directs calcium to strengthen bones instead of stiffening joints. And the calcium and magnesium work in harmony to support overall joint function. Learning to prepare kale became my new project. I discovered that massaging the leaves with a little olive oil and salt transforms them from tough and bitter to tender and almost sweet. I'd add them to my soups in the last few minutes of cooking, blend them into green smoothies with fruits to mask their intensity, or even bake them into crispy chips that satisfied my evening snack cravings. The breakthrough research on kale came from an osteoarthritis study that tracked participants for 6 months. Those who incorporated kale into their diets 3 times a week showed remarkable improvements in joint lubrication and cartilage resilience. The researchers noted that participants reported feeling more stable on their feet and experienced fewer episodes of joint stiffness, particularly in the morning. What surprised me most about my relationship with kale was how it made me feel stronger, not just physically, but mentally. There was something empowering about conquering this challenging vegetable and making it part of my healing routine. Every time I prepared kale, I felt like I was actively choosing health, actively fighting back against the limitations I'd been accepting. But the biggest surprise was still waiting for me in the most ordinary place, right next to the onions in my vegetable drawer. Part 8. Cabbage, the overlooked collagen savior. If I had to choose one vegetable that completely revolutionized my understanding of healing foods, it would be cabbage. Plain, humble, often overlooked cabbage. For most of my life, I thought of cabbage as something you put in coleslaw, or maybe added to soup when you wanted to stretch a meal. I had no idea I was looking at one of nature's most powerful joint healers. The discovery happened by accident. I was making my grandmother's cabbage roll recipe, feeling nostalgic and missing her wisdom, when I decided to research the nutritional benefits of the ingredients I was using. What I found about cabbage left me stunned. This simple, affordable vegetable contains something called glutamine, an amino acid that's absolutely crucial for repairing joint tissue and replenishing the synovial fluid that lubricates your joints. But glutamine is just the beginning. Cabbage is also rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, and powerful antioxidants that work together to support collagen production while fighting the inflammation that breaks down joint cartilage. It's like having a complete joint repair kit wrapped up in ordinary green leaves. I started experimenting with cabbage in ways I'd never considered. I'd shred it raw into salads for that satisfying crunch, ferment it into sauerkraut for gut health benefits that also support joint healing, or simply saute it with garlic and herbs as a side dish. The more I cooked with cabbage, the more I appreciated its versatility and gentle flavor. The research that convinced me of cabbage's power came from a university study that followed seniors with joint issues for 4 months. Participants who included cabbage in their meals at least 4 times a week experienced a 43% reduction in joint swelling and reported significant improvements in stability and balance. 43%. The researchers were amazed at how such a simple dietary addition could produce such dramatic results. What I love most about cabbage is its accessibility. It's one of the most affordable vegetables in the grocery store. It keeps well in the refrigerator, and it can be prepared in countless ways. Every time I slice into a fresh head of cabbage, I'm reminded that some of the most powerful healing foods are the ones that have been quietly nourishing families for generations. As I prepared to share this knowledge with others, I realized that my journey with these 7 vegetables had taught me something profound about the relationship between food and healing. As I sit here in my kitchen this morning, surrounded by the very vegetables that gave me back my mobility and my hope, I'm filled with gratitude for this journey of discovery. 3 years ago, I was resigned to a life of increasing limitations, accepting that pain and stiffness were just the price of getting older. Today, I move through my days with ease I thought I'd lost forever. These 7 vegetables, spinach, broccoli, garlic, carrots, onions, kale, and cabbage, aren't just ingredients anymore. They're my daily allies, my gentle healers, my reminder that our bodies still remember how to repair themselves when given the right encouragement. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated medical procedures. You need real food, prepared with intention and consumed with hope. The most beautiful part of this discovery is how it connects us to something larger than ourselves. Every culture, every grandmother, every family kitchen has honored these vegetables in some way. We're not discovering something new. We're remembering something profound that was always there, waiting for us to pay attention. Your journey to smoother, more comfortable movement can begin with your very next meal. Start small. Choose one vegetable that speaks to you. Prepare it with love. Eat it with intention. Notice how your body responds. Trust in your body's incredible capacity to heal when given the right tools. I believe in your strength, in your resilience, in your ability to write a new chapter of your health story. These vegetables are more than nutrition. They're a conversation with your body, a loving reminder that it's never too late to choose healing. What matters most is that you begin. Your joints, your legs, your entire body is waiting for this gift of nourishment. The power to feel better, to move with ease, to live with vitality. It's already in your hands.